It's 2018, and I'm back again for another game room tour. I feel like I've added enough things to my collection this year to justify doing another tour. Plus, doing these tours actually helps me. I can go back. I can look at the video and see how I had things set up, because sometimes I move shit around and I forget where the hell I had things, and I can't get things to fit properly. So it helps to go back and look at pictures or videos. So let me just pan around here real quick so you can get a kind of get the scope of the room. You know, you can see it's definitely getting cluttered here in this room. I don't really have much more space to put a lot of stuff. And over here we got the computer area, and in that little room there, that's what my wife calls the dungeon room. That's where I store all my extra crap that I don't really have any room for. All right, so let's start over here. This is where I keep most of my CD, DVD based games. We do have, you know, some of the Game Boy cartridges and things like that. But anyways, let's start on the bottom shelf. Here's my 360 games. I got quite a large amount of 360 games. And there's another stack. If you look at, see that stack right there? Those games, that's probably about the number of games that I actually purchased. The rest of the games, which are down here and over here, I got all those out of the dumpster, from dumpster diving. I've been dumpster diving at GameStop for probably a good 10 years now. And yeah, I would say this whole bottom row all came out of the dumpster, and all the games are in good condition. I have a machine that I use to buff out these games, so you can see they're all in nice shape. They all work. But yeah, that really beefed up my 360 collection. Same applies for the PS3 here. Here's my PS3 collection, which again, I would say out of these three shelves here, maybe one is of games that I actually purchased. The other two shelves are games that I got out of the dumpster. Next up, we got PS4 games, and same thing there. Maybe half of the games. I don't have a very large amount of PS4 games, but I would say at least half came out of the dumpster, and they all work. And the other half I've purchased. My Xbox One collection, you can see it's very small. My entire Xbox One collection, including systems and all, consists of nothing but dumpster dive stuff. So I have 2 game systems, and just the games that you see here that I got all out of the dumpster, and everything works. Next up, we got my Wii games here. Same thing here. I probably got, those are my Wii U games. Those were all purchased. Nothing came out of the dumpster there. But for the Wii, I would say that stack there, maybe I purchased. All the rest, dumpster. And next up, GameCube. These games were all purchased. And next shelf, We got a Sega Nomad and a little Sega plug and play thing. Here I have just a this sign here is from a Wii U Kiosk that I got out of the dumpster. And I'll go over to this next shelf here. Anything I would say from the Wii era to Xbox One era, I've gotten things out of the dumpster, but for the most part, everything else, anything old school, like the Game Boys, you know, Sega, anything like that, it's all part of my collection from, you know, years ago. We got original Xbox games here. I'd say over the years, maybe I found a handful of Xbox games in the dumpster. My small DS collection. There's some more original Xbox games. A couple more there. And on to the PS2 section. PS2, yeah, I definitely found a good handful of games, PS2 games out of the dumpster too. That's probably, you know, maybe when the PS2 was starting to get late in its lifespan is when I started diving, so probably 2007, 2008. But yeah, I've definitely found a handful of things, PS2 things in the dumpster. But for the most part, most of these games came from, you know, buying bundles and stuff that I originally bought. Alright, this shelf here is just some little trinket things. Technically, that Game & Watch there, technically I got that out of the dumpster, because back when you would get those Nintendo points where you go onto their little shop there and you could put in the code and get points, and so I got all the points out of the dumpster, and I got that. I saved up the points to get that Game & Watch and that, it's hard to see, but that a Zelda CD there. The 3DS, I got that out of the dumpster. That is actually a display model. It does work. It does have the home button is disabled on it. That's how the 3DS display models worked, where the home button was disabled, and you have to have it plugged in order for the console to work. But still, for free, I'm not complaining. I did purchase this Zelda cover because I was trying to make it look like the you know, the Zelda themed 3DS they came out with there. Alright, next shelf. I got my Game Boy Advanced SP. This one came from, I forget where the hell I got this. I ordered it online. It was a special edition. And they sent me two by accident, so I ended up selling one. Not too long ago, but I've had this thing forever, since it came out. But you got the Game Boy Micro there, and my small collection of Game Boy Advanced games. There's a Game Boy Advanced e-reader bundle. Alright, next, let's go to the top here. We got Sega Genesis stuff. We got some Sega CD games. I don't have very many, but it's a start. We have the Sega CD console, that's the Model 1. And the Sega Genesis Model 3, that is a Genesis Model 2. Here's my Genesis collection. I got a couple good games. Not a very big Genesis collection, but I'm happy with it. And over here, the Sega Genesis Model 1. And I like, as you can see, I like boxed consoles. I like to have them complete in the box. Alright, so that is it for that section. Moving on, there's my game chair. That's where I chill out, play me some video games. Alright, next up we got the Nintendo 64 area. So we got a couple box games, nothing major. We have a boxed N64 console, and then I have the fantastic green one here. That's the one I use whenever I fire up the N64. I plug that one in. And then down here is where I keep my games. I'm starting to run out of room for games, but there's some games there, and I got a couple good games. I mean, we got some good ones. We got all the ones that you would want, pretty much. We got Bad Fur Day there, Power Rangers. You know, you got the Zeldas. I got all the like Mario parties. And, you know, I got all the stuff that most people would want. Alright, this stuff here on the floor is stuff that I found in the dumpster so far this month. So we'll just ignore that. I just like to stack it all here over the month, and at the end of the month I make a video showing all the shit that I found throughout the whole month. Alright, next up I got my Atari stuff here. I'm a pretty big Atari fan. I know that Atari has fallen out of favor over the past 20 years, I would say. But I'm an older fella. I'm in my 40s now, 45. And I grew up playing the Atari 2600. That's the game system I had for most of my childhood. So, man, you can't really see, but I have probably about 5 or 6 boxed Atari 5200 games. I have a bunch in the actual box here with the system, and then I have a pretty large stack here. I got a good number of Atari 5200 games. Next up, the Atari 2600 Darth Vader unit. They call it the Vader unit because it's all black. And we're getting into stuff here that I've had for ever, you know, 20 plus years. Some of these games even are probably from my childhood. Some of these games might be the original. I don't even know. I don't have many box games, but there they are. Let's see what else. We got the Odyssey 2. The system itself is in excellent condition. but the box, as you can see, is pretty rough. I picked that up probably about 5 to 10 years ago in a bundle, and it's a cool little system. I don't have many games for it. I only got a few. They're actually in the box along with the system. Atari 2600 carrying case. This thing's pretty cool. They're not super common, but you know, you can find them. But they're the hard cases where you can put your 2600 in. I just got it filled with a crap ton of games and controllers and stuff. Alright, Call of Duty hat that I got out of the dumpster. That's another thing. GameStop always throws out their the pre-order shit that they give away. They always throw out like tons of, you know, posters or whatever the fuck they're giving away, and they threw out the hats. That one got crushed a little bit. There is my Atari Lynx. I only have one box game. The other games, I probably got about, I don't know, 10 games all together. I got a bunch in there, but none of them are boxed, just that one. Alright, things that I've had when I was a kid. All of these Coleco tabletops I had when I was a kid. When I was growing up, my mother on my birthday or Christmas would take me to Toys R Us, and we'd pick out, you know, one I didn't have, and they all still work after all these years. I don't even know how long old these are. 80s. I don't know, 30 years. Next up, newest addition to my collection is the Nintendo Switch Mario Odyssey bundle. Technically, you could say I got that out of the dumpster because I sold a bunch of shit like that I got out of the dumpster and made enough money to purchase this. We got the Super Nintendo Classic Edition Mini. Next up, the PS3. This is the fat model that's backwards compatible with PS2 games. And yes, I got that out of the dumpster years ago. Nothing was wrong with it. The system is beautiful. I don't know why they threw it out, but I've had that for years now. These controllers, these were brand new. I go into the dumpster, and this was years ago, but I go into the dumpster, and yeah, just open up here. Okay. So I go into the dumpster, and I find a huge box full of brand new third-party controllers for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, you name it, it was in there. Headsets. So, and I got two of them here. I added these to my collection because I liked them. So yeah, this dumpster came out of the dumpster. ColecoVision. Don't have very much ColecoVision stuff. I used to have a lot more, but I got rid of like everything, all the games that I didn't have a box for, and I only have. I have the Donkey Kong game that came with the system. I have the Turbo game that goes with that steering wheel, and then just these three box games. I wasn't big on ColecoVision growing up. You know, like I said, I had the Atari 2600, even though the ColecoVision was better. I was a hardcore Atari kid. You know, I was like, yeah, my Atari 2600 is better than yours, ColecoVision. Next up, we got the Web TV. Most people probably don't even know what the fuck this is. It's a internet terminal. You would use it to get on the internet back in the day. These came out in, I believe, 1996, late 1996. And I used this thing for years before I got a computer. I probably didn't get a computer until the year 2000. And that's what I used to get on the internet. And it does play some games. You have to modify the system to get it to play them, but it can play Doom. It can play it can play checkers. Oh, there is a modification that you can do to play early version of MAME. So you can play like maybe Pac-Man and Galaga and things like that on it. So, but yeah, I used this thing for years, so it's kind of, you know, nostalgic for me. So that's why I have that there. Next up, we got some of my Super Nintendo games here. I probably have maybe close to 100 Super Nintendo games, and most of the games that I do have are good titles. There's my Super Nintendo box, my Super Scope for the Super Nintendo, and my Texas Instrument home computer 99.4A. You know, that thing's alright. I scored that in a super huge bundle that I bought many years ago. This guy was moving to, I don't know, Hawaii, Hong Kong, I don't remember what he said, but anyways, this guy had a basement probably 3 times the size of mine, full of 3 times the amount of shit that I have, and he went on to sell most of it, but what was left, which was a ton of stuff, he sold me for $400, and I had got, I mean, the amount of stuff I got for $400 would just blow your mind. But anyways, let's move on. I'm getting off track here. Next up, we got my little shelf here. I got some Mario chess. I got an old school Mario child-size suitcase. I don't know what the hell what you would call it, but it's pretty cool, old school. I got my original Xbox collection here. I do mod all my Xboxes. I think at this stage in their life, I think you gotta mod them. Only because, I mean, the hard drives in them are getting old, so I think you gotta mod them now. So I do. I put bigger hard drives in them and new hard drives. So, you know, these systems are guaranteed to work for many more years now. Let's see, we got a boxed Wii. That is the original model that took me a while to get when the Wii first came out. Everybody was going crazy for them, and I eventually got one, and that's it. There's a Ps2 Slim. And we got another Wii. And some more of my Atari stuff. Then we got the good old Vectrex system here. Picked that up many years ago. Guy was asking like, not too much for it. He was asking like $200, and this was complete and boxed. I do have the box in my storage room. He was asking $200 for it. I go, I'll give you $100 right now. He said, okay. So I scored this, and it's in excellent condition. I got 4 boxed games with it. Nice score. There's a sign my daughter got me for like Christmas, I believe, one year. There's a lonely little Rob the robot there. I don't even know if he works. I picked him up years ago. off some random dude. He was like, give me 20 bucks. I was like, okay. So it was just Rob, and he came with a lot of the parts. I got gyros and some other stuff. I don't know if he's 100%, but he's got most of it, and for 20 bucks, I really couldn't pass it up. And we got the notorious Virtual Boy that everybody seems to hate, but I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. I don't have many games for that either, just a stack, a little handful there. One of my favorite electronic handheld games, right there. I love that game. And over here we have the original Xbox. This is a launch model, complete in box. Xbox One, got that out of the dumpster. Complete working Xbox One out of the dumpster. And there is a story though to go with this, because you're probably like, wow, this guy's crazy, you got an Xbox One out of the dumpster. I have found multiple Xbox Ones in GameStop's dumpster, but this particular one, when I brought it home, I realized that it was infested with fucking roaches, so I had to completely take it apart. I took it apart outside, completely took it apart, cleaned the shit out of it, put it back together, and it's been working great ever since. Probably had that for a little over a year now. There is my PS3 God of War bundle. I purchased that when that first came out. I had to get it. I love God of War series, and I just thought the red console was cool. So, and that came out late in the PS3. It came out maybe a year before the PS4 came out. Next up, we got Xbox 360 collection, and every single one of these consoles I got out of the dumpster. They are all complete. Meaning I have the controllers, I have the game, the box, and I got these all out of the dumpster. Now, mind you, I didn't get, let's say, for example, this Halo Reach one. I have the box that you see here. I got that years ago, and then it wasn't until last year I found the console. I already had the game, and then the controller. I actually had to buy a controller. Same with this. I got the box at a different time. Then I found the console, and I purchased the Forza game on eBay. So I had to piece them together over time, but they all came out of the dumpster. There's my PS2. I purchased that when that first came out. I purchased the Wii U when it first came, or the Zelda one came out. My PlayStation 1s. That one's the launch model right there. That's another early model as well. And then over here we have, it's hard to see the games, but some of my PS1 game collection. And that fight stick, I got that out of the dumpster. Remember when I was telling you when I got those Call of Duties? This was in that giant box full of stuff, and there was just something rattling around inside of that. I opened it up. It was a tiny little piece of plastic, and other than that, there was nothing wrong with it. So it's brand new, so it works perfectly. That one I purchased. There is the rest of my PS1 games, and we got some music CDs there. Here's some of my some more of my Super Nintendo collection. I don't have many box games. I think just, is it just those two? I think just two. Maybe three. There might be a sports game or something floating around. Excuse me. So here's some of more of my Super Nintendo games. We got some good titles. We got all the Donkey Kongs, Secret of Evermore, Final Fights, Mega Man, Sunset Riders, Turtles, Yoshis. We got the Marios, we got the Kirby's. So, like I said, most of my Super Nintendo titles are titles that you would want. Alright, moving on over to here. Here's the rest of my Super Nintendo collection. And, let's see, what do we got there? Contra, Legend of Zelda, no, what is that? Super Mario RPG, Metal Warriors, I don't know, a bunch of stuff here. And those go way back there. So, like I said, I got about 100. And it's all stuff that you'd want. Like, I love Rock and Roll Racing. Man, I love that game. Street Fighter, I love that game. Breath of Fire, I mean, Secret of Mana, all these games, they're all awesome. Awesome games. Alright. PS2. Here's some more of my PS2. My shelf where I keep my games is getting full, so I've been stacking them in here. So now whenever I want to play my PS2, I gotta freaking take out a bunch of games. And alright, next up we got my original stereo from when I was younger. I got this back in probably the late 80s. I believe I was 16, so yeah, it's got to be late 80s. And it still works. Still use it today. I believe the equalizer I got later, I got probably when I was in my 20s. I got the equalizer. My Nintendo Wii. There's my TV that I use to play all these old games. My little Nintendo Advantage lamp that I made. Yeah. Here's my NES. I made a custom window. I've had this NES forever. It works great. You put the game in and it freaking works. You don't have to blow on it. And here's my original 360. This one's modded, but I mean, I pretty much have all the 360 games you would want to play, so don't really need to mod. Alright, we're getting there. Here's some of my NES games. Now, I've collected these for many years, and I gotta say, I'm at the point where I just can't seem to get any more games for my NES collection that are reasonably priced anyways, because most of these stuff, I mean, I got for pennies, like, you know, Scat, Jetsons, Chip and Dale 2, all these games, all the Dragon Warriors, all of the Mega Mans, Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got all of these games for pennies. I mean, $1, $2. So you're not going to find that anymore. And I probably have 400 maybe a little over 400 NES games. That's just some of them right there. But yeah, so it's, like I said, it's just getting harder for me to find stuff. I'm not paying $200 for Chippendale. I'm not paying that. You know what I mean? I'll pay $2. Same thing with all of those games there, like my Sega Genesis collection. I mean, it's all going up. Everything's going up, up, up. I can't spend the money. All right, next up. This is my original Atari that I had when I was a kid. It's, I guess they call this the Heavy Sixer because it's the first model that came out. This was actually my brother's. He's 5 or 6 years older than me, and I guess when he got sick of it, he handed it down to me, and because I was only, how old was I? In 77, that's when this came out. I was 4 years old, so I mean, I don't think I was playing Atari at 4 years old. I don't remember. I don't think I was. But yeah, he gave that to me, and I've had it ever since. He probably gave it to me. I was probably around 10 when he handed me his Atari collection there. There's some more games. Bunch of games there. And I got a couple harder to find ones, but I probably got between 200 to 300 Atari 2600 games. Next up, ow, I just hit my head. Next up is another dumpster score, the PlayStation Vita Kiosk, and the system in there I actually bought, but the kiosk I found. You can tap on things there and everything works. Oh boy, I probably shouldn't have done that. Anyways, next up, we got the PS4 back there. My PSP God of War edition. PSP Go, and that's in a really oversized box, but I didn't have a box for my PSP Go, and GameStop had these big display boxes, so I asked them for one, and they gave me it. There's my little Vita collection. It's just a couple games there, nothing major. Some more PSP stuff. Got just a regular system there, and a bunch of games and movies. Here is my PS1 long boxes. I managed to get a decent amount of them. Definitely harder to find than the regular games. And then we got a small Game Gear collection. Handful of games, a couple in the box. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting to the nitty gritty. We got the Atari Flashback 2. I modded that one so that it can actually play original Atari 2600 cartridges. There's another Atari plug and play Flashback 3. We got an old school Radio Shack Pong machine. My little plug and play Star Wars collection. We got, I think we got them all. I don't know. And my Sega Dreamcast collection here. You know, I got a decent Dreamcast games. I mean, not a ton, but a couple. Got a couple good ones. What we got? I got Shamu. We got a couple good ones in there. And then there's my Sega Dreamcast. We've got the arcade style controller, and this is a monitor that I made for the Dreamcast. I have one of those special things you use. You could hook it up to monitors and you get like a better picture. So I painted this monitor, the kind of like the Dreamcast colors there. And we got Sega Master System Collection. A nice little collection of games for that. And I picked this up recently. I found another Xbox One in the dumpster, and I traded some guy. He wanted an Xbox One, so I traded him for his white Wii U. These white ones, I mean, the Wii U's are going to be hard to find eventually anyways, but the white one, that's going to be real hard to find, because I don't think many people picked that one up. Then we got Outrun 2019 Plug and Play and Donkey Kong Jenga. Alright. Oh, here's my, I don't have it plugged in right now, but there's my arcade machine. Cocktail table, they call this style. This I made from top to bottom. I had the glass cut at a glass company, but everything else, cut out all the wood. I bent that metal there. I built this whole thing. I probably built this about 10 years ago, and still works great. All right, the rest of my NES collection here. I made a special cabinet for it. I made that cabinet years ago, and you can see I got quite a few. And I really can't get in here too good, but there's good titles, trust me. And all these games, I mean, if you look at all of this shit that I have, yes, a lot of it I bought. There's stuff that I got out of the dumpster, but I can guarantee you in this whole room, technically I didn't spend any money, because back, 10 years ago, I was buying and selling things like crazy. You could buy, you could go to a garage sale and buy a Super Nintendo for freaking $10, and turn around and sell it, for $50. And then as time went on, like I remember back in like 2011, 2012, man, you could still pick up shit at garage sales for cheap and turn around and sell it for make a mint. So a lot of this stuff I paid nothing for it, technically. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. trying to finish this video. It's 44 minutes. We're almost done. There's my GameCube collection. Got a couple random comic books. Got some Street Fighter there. Mortal Kombat. Here's my computer area. Sorry, I got a little bit of a mess there. Sorry about that. And some more Nintendo stuff. Got my Power Glove. A couple games that came out for the Power Glove. What else do we got? We got some Amiibos. Not many Amiibos. I didn't go crazy on the Amiibos. For the most part, I got the ones I wanted. My wife and daughter purchased me weird ones like Princess Peach. What other ones? I mean, I didn't really want Toad. I didn't want Toad. Be honest with you, I probably would have been happy with Mario, Pac-Man, that Luigi, those two, and that. All the rest I could have done without. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for the main game room. And just to finish off the video here, we'll go into my dungeon room here. This is where I keep all my extra stuff that I find in GameStop dumpster, like all that shit, all these guidebooks, you know, PS3 there. There's freaking 360s in there. Check those out. This is funny. This is a whole case of just games I got out of GameStop's dumpster. This is probably just within the last year. Tons of them. You know, we got Wii's and Wii Fits and all sorts of crap. Look at this. PS4, PS2, there's a 360 in there somewhere. I mean, just tons of crap. So anyways, oh yeah, look at all those. Those are all complete in the box. 1, 2, 3 more shit here. But anyways, all right, that's it. We're done. Game Room Tour 2018. And like I said, it's been harder for me to keep finding stuff, but if my game room changes enough, we will be back next year, 2019, with another Game Room Tour. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.